my best friend Gail on 4 flying dates. Next Oprah.
Today at 4. Survivor's Gift.
This CBS News special report is part of our continuing coverage of America at War. From CBS News headquarters in New York, here is Dan Rather.
Good day. We're on the air because U.S. military forces are in the process of taking the Baghdad airport. They are within 10 to 12 miles of the city center. CBS's Jim Axelrod is there. Jim?
Dan, we're standing about 2 miles outside the gates of the airport, and I can confirm that there are units of the 3rd Infantry Division that are inside right now. The 1st Brigade Combat Team has a couple of tank companies in there. They're in the process of clearing out the area. We're told it's slow going. The terrain is difficult. There are lots of buildings, obviously, that need to be checked one by one. We have heard gunfire, sporadic gunfire, in the last 15 or 20 minutes. But this caps a remarkable march over the last 44 hours by the 3rd Infantry. They've come some 50 miles from the south of Karbala up to the airport, and as you say, are in the process of taking it right now. Part of that march was crossing the Euphrates, and I saw what we had been told to expect in the weeks and months leading up to the war. For the first time, Iraqis out on the street cheering the American troops as they came by. Now, that got, as we got closer to the airport, that did turn, people stopped waving, stopped cheering, and we began to hear a lot more gunfire and mortar. But remarkably little opposition as the 3rd Infantry has rolled into the airport. Dan?
Jim, how many prisoners, how many casualties? I know you have no hard figures, but were there a lot of prisoners, a lot of casualties, first on the U.S. side, then on the Iraqi side?
On the U.S. side, Dan, with the 3rd Infantry, who I've been with, I'm told by the General, General Blunt, who is the general in charge of the division, that he measures killed in action at about 16. Only 3 are combat deaths. Now, of course, those figures are changing constantly as we're in the middle of an operation. But contrast that with what we're told the 3rd Infantry has inflicted, some 4,000 Iraqi deaths by some estimation from several officers that I talked to today. So those are the figures as best we have them right now. As far as EPWs, prisoners of war, I witnessed on this run-up from Karbala, I saw dozens, but I'm told that there were hundreds taken in several Karbala and then in several villages near the Euphrates. We saw them being processed all day today. So those seem to be sort of the latest casualty and EPW number.
Jim Axelrod, any evidence of determined, organized military defense, or was it a case of just slicing through like a jackknife through a peach?
Yeah, and that's what's been so striking about this march to the airport. Yes, there has been defense. Yes, we have heard sporadic gunfire. Yes, I saw among the troops, the bodies that I saw today, they were wearing Republican Guard uniform, the green, all-green uniform signifying the Republican Guard. But it has not been any significant resistance that has stopped the 3rd Infantry in any meaningful way. And I think most of that has to do with the sort of cohesive, coordinated effort, not only in the air with the Apache helicopters, not only on the ground with the M1A1 tanks, but the artillery, the howitzers, the Paladin howitzers, and the MLRS, the multiple launch rocket systems. Everything was working in concert. The commanders I talked to today all had a bounce in their step as they were crowing about the way this coordinated attack has come together and sliced through the Iraqi opposition like a knife through butter. Dan?
Jim Axelrod reporting live from right on the outskirts of Baghdad. U.S. forces are in the process of taking the Baghdad airport. Organized units of the 3rd Infantry U.S. Army are within 10 miles, perhaps less, of the actual city limits of Baghdad. Special operations going on inside the city. At least 1, possibly 2 Iraqi divisions of Republican Guard destroyed and or dissolved on the way. There'll be more about the war on your local news on this CBS station. We'll have clear coverage and the big picture on tonight's CBS Evening News. For now, with Jim Axelrod at the front, Dan Rather in New York. See you later.
All right, listen to me, Jessica. None of this is